Carnival 2021, not your typical carnival by any means. We've had to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic and it brought some changes. I just want to put my comments out there into the digital space. Not everybody's going to agree with what I have to say, and that's fine, that's okay. I'm not necessarily correct, but I do have an opinion on things, and I would like to share that opinion for those people who find that valuable. First of all, we did a number of pre-recorded virtual events. I found in large part that they can work. Some of them did work quite well when proper planning, care, and attention was paid to things like the aesthetics, costuming, lighting, audio, especially audio, because it is a music production. Don't kill me if I don't call your event in my examples, but the one that initially comes to mind, I think, would be the Nadia Batson virtual event. I thought that was really well done and well put together, and something that you could watch any time of the year, anywhere, any time of the year. That's good. Live concerts, I think, have a role to play, but their role may be more in terms of this might sound a bit odd, a fete replacer, or a fete for people who don't like to go to fetes. So some people enjoy soca and enjoy the atmosphere and enjoy the performances and the energy, but they don't necessarily want to go and stand up among hundreds of people for hours on end. People get tired, people want to sit down, people want to get up when they feel like getting up, and a traditional fete doesn't always afford you that opportunity. So I think the live concerts that were done, the virtual ones that were done, not quite a fete, but kind of like a fete, I think they have a role to play going forward. Competitions, I believe, still do have a role to play in Carnival, but I think the days of competitions ruling Carnival and competitions being the epitome, the high point of Carnival, I think those days, if they're not gone, they're close to being gone. So with those general thoughts, I just want to cut into some recommendations that I have for Carnival 2022 and beyond. You will see me kind of looking down a little bit because I have some notes, because I can't remember everything in my head right now. So I think what we should do is to make Carnival weekend an internationally targeted explosion of our creativity, featuring our various Carnival events available online as premieres and downloadable thereafter. There is a model that is used by iTunes, Movies, and Amazon Prime and so on, where they are premiering, HBO Max as well, where they are premiering movies that are showing in the cinema on their streaming services, and you can watch them, or you can rent them for a period of time. You can rent them as soon as they're available, but then you can purchase them later on and download and keep afterwards, after the initial period. So that's a model that we need to investigate and look at. In order to facilitate this weekend, though, of virtual events available online and so on, I think what we need to do is to complete the competitions a week earlier than we currently do. So Panorama Large, for example, which is, Pan is my thing, right? Panorama Large, which is usually on Carnival Saturday night, that can go to the Saturday before. Soca Monarch, which is usually Fantastic Friday, that can go to the Friday before. Again, I know it have some people will be probably cussing and ranting and raving at any suggestion of moving these things, but Panorama used to be on Carnival Sunday night, for people who are old enough to remember, as even before my time. We didn't have a Soca Monarch all the time. There was no Soca Monarch before, I think, the early 1990s, all right? So Carnival has changed over time, and it can still change. So if we can get the Panorama Soca Monarch, Calypso Monarch, Chutney Soca Monarch, etc., completed a week earlier, it will facilitate editing and production of an international quality set of videos that will be available, as I was saying before, either on pay-per-view and maybe later on downloadable, available over the Carnival weekend. And we will target the international market, not just foreigners, Trinidadians living in foreigner, but anywhere that people are interested in festivals and are interested in party, interested in quality experiences of our, joy, liveliness, our creativity, and so on. We will be targeting those people using the events streaming over the weekend. Now, the various competitions can still be shown locally, live, on live television as they are, or they can be done pay-per-view for the diaspora, Trinidadians, Tobagonians, as Caribbean people, etc., who are accustomed to watching them live. They may be able to pay a little something for it, right, to see it pay-per-view. But we will keep that as well, even though we might want to move the timing and scheduling. Pre-recorded events should remain a mainstay of the Carnival season. I think the opportunity to properly record our living culture is too good an opportunity to pass up. So what was done by a lot of our soca artists in particular and bands this year, that has to stay. I don't see that going away at all. I think it would be a horrible mistake on our part to stop doing that after we've done such a fantastic experiment with it this year. Live concerts should remain a part of Carnival, as I mentioned before, so those who want the experience of a fete without the fete. And I think there should be some degree of coordination between the various interest groups and the individual entities, the Caesar's armies and the tribes and the Yumas and whoever else, to ensure that scheduling conflicts are minimized. So what we don't want is, we have a whole weekend where we can showcase our culture, where we can showcase the world, what we have. We don't need to have 3 and 4 events taking up the same time slot. We're talking streaming, all right? And streaming is different from traditional television. The time is still important when you're doing a premiere to some degree, but we don't need to bunch everything up, right? We can't separate it out. And lastly, in terms of pan, which is my thing, that's my niche, my area. As I mentioned before, I think we should complete Panorama a week early to facilitate editing and production of something like the Pan is Spirit show that they had this year, the medium and the large. Maybe what we could do is that we have big concert or big concerts where we have the winners from the various categories, the single pan, small, medium, and large. And each band can have a little repertoire, just like what was done at Pan is Spirit this year. And we put that together. We put the winners and maybe some of the runners-up and so on into one or more prepackaged shows. And that's what we push over the Carnival weekend. It also will allow steel bands to get out of the perennial problem of only focusing on one tune for Panorama. Now you will have to use Panorama to get in, to be chosen to be one of those to be highlighted later on the video, but you will have to perform a repertoire. And we could even encourage bands to perform a current repertoire of current music, of new music, just to keep things fresh. And I think that will give steel bands an opportunity to focus on something other than just the one Panorama tune, which there's been a lot of discussion and thing about that. All right. So those are just my initial thoughts. Of course, this is not a treatise. This is not a paper that has been scientifically researched and validated by thousands of people and so on. This is just my initial thoughts about Carnival this year and about some things that we could do going forward. All in all, great job, everybody. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of taking our Carnival forward into the world, into the international realm, and into a greater sense of enjoyment and purpose and fulfillment for those of us who are part of the festival locally. Comment. Let's hear what you have to say.